I'm trying to go live. Good evening and welcome to the my podcast, Bob Pace, Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. This is what this podcast is about. We have a guest tonight. Her name is Alyssa, but she's having some internet issues. I guess she's trying to work her phone so she can be a guest. Um, Hopefully, she'll be able to come back on. Um, uh, Faye, do you want to come on and speak or?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, I guess, listen, I suppose.
Well, okay. Let me go ahead and hang you up here so the phone is free for her. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
All
All
right.
right.
Okay. We have Faye from Richmond, Kentucky, that wants to go in too. Um, well, unfortunately, I had a drink and my drink is all over the floor, so that's disaster. Yeah, like Noah's flood. All right, Elisa Sparks, can you hear me? Um, Hopefully, we have a guest here. Um, we have a guest tonight. Her name is Alyssa Sparks. I have no idea where she's from, but Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky, and she's in the room. I'd like to go over a couple of the ground rules of how they interact with this podcast. This is a live podcast, and first way is that you're just in the room, and being in the room, you are listening, and that's fine. That's fine. Just be in the room. That's one way. The second way is you can text in comments uh, to me, and I'll be able to read them. When typing in the comments, it should pertain to CPS questions. We're in this room to talk about the child protection system. And please show your name, city, state, or country and be complete with your CPS case. Now, when I say country, we've had several countries express interest in CPS. We have Bangladesh and India. From the continent of Africa, we've had South Africa, a province in South Africa. We've had Mozambique on the east coast, across from Madagascar. We have Rwanda, which in the 90s had a horrific, terrible elimination of 1 million people. But they text in. And then we have a country up in North Africa called Liberia. And he was on this morning. He was on this morning. It was evening time for him. And he talked. It was good to hear from him again. We've had that in Europe. We've had the United Kingdom with England, Scotland, and Wales. And then we've had Sweden and Denmark. And then across the Atlantic, we've had in North America, Canada on both sides. All the 50 states and the Washington, D.C. have all called in. Then we have Mexico. Then across the big pond, the Pacific Ocean, and the land down under, we've had Australia. And I forgot one country in South America called Guyana. And Guyana is on the coast uh, east of Venezuela, north of Brazil, and they have a town called Georgetown on the coast. So, as you can see, we have lots of people. I've talked to over 500 people, and I'm not an attorney, but I'm a loving father with six children, three older children and three younger children, and my wife of 35 years. And so that is the second way that you can interact there. Um, I don't know if Kristen Reynolds is here. She had a message for you this morning. I still have it saved somewhere. Also, Danny McGowan, you here. He was here this morning too. Both Christine and Danny were here, Faye. They were here. Now, The third way to interact with this podcast is doing what Alyssa Sparks is doing. Alyssa is a guest on my podcast. And to be scheduled as a guest, all you do is contact my show producer. Her name is Grace, and she works behind the scenes, keeps me in line, and then she'll help you with the StreamYard link to get on the podcast and what to say and not to say and how to talk on the podcast as a guest. And so that is a third way you can interact with this podcast. All you have to do is contact Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com, and she'll help you out. She'll help you out. So just email me the morning or the evening show time or Monday through Sunday. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. On at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time for an hour, except on Sunday, I'm on at 8 o'clock. Then I'm on at evening time at 7 o'clock for an hour, Pacific Standard Time. So I recommend you all to be a guest on my show. It's really personal and it can answer a lot of your questions. The last way to get to be on my interact on my podcast is to call in. I can take one phone call at a time, and my phone number is 626 698 0990. That's my office phone number, and that's 626 698 0990. And I use Vonage on my phone. That's the come use, and I'll gladly take your call between my show hours. If you call before my show hours or after my show hours, I will send a message that you need to talk to me during my show hours. That's the only time I'm able to talk to you then. So those are the four ways: by listening, by texting comments, or by being a guest. And lastly is the phone number there. Now, the other number you see in the window, that other number that is on orange and yellow, that is the office where Mr. Davis can be reached, and that is 888-888-6582. And he always likes to hear from you, and you can call in and ask for him. He'll give you a consultation for 30 minutes, and I'll talk more about Mr. Davis for $60. It's 30 minutes for $60, and he will talk to you there. Shannon, Broadway, glad to see you again. I think you're on this morning, and you were trying to get on last night. I think my time here is different. I missed you this morning. It's 9:21 p.m. here. It's 10:21 here. It's 10:21 here. So, wow, you're 9:21. You must be. See, you're 2 hours ahead of me. Okay, 2 hours ahead. So, you must be. I forgot. I think you're in the Midwest or someplace, Shannon. But you can call in, and Alyssa Sparks and I can try to help you. You're in Oklahoma. Okay, Rivar, Oklahoma. Welcome. There's Christina Fay. Christina's on. Christina had a message for you, thinking you were on, but you were on this morning. So Christina's in the house, Fay. Christina's in the house. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest. Her name is Alyssa Sparks. And you're from where, Alyssa Sparks?
Bakersfield, California.
Okay, I heard California. What was the city?
Bakersfield.
Oh, Bakersfield. You're not too far from me. I'm in the coast here, south of Los Angeles. So Bakersfield is a hard court to work in. I've heard nothing but horror stories there. And what was your CPS case about?
I'm sort of currently. Well, it just kind of started Monday.
Today? I mean, yesterday?
This past Monday. It'll be 1 week yesterday.
Oh, so you had a case for a little over a week.
Yeah, it was an investigation technically, and so 1 year ago, my son had his first girlfriend. They were 14. She was removed by CPS from her family, and they allowed her to come and live with me. And by September, her and my son were pregnant. And my grandson was just born in May. And on this past Monday, CPS came and removed her from my home, as well as the baby and my daughter, due to my son's behavior, those allegations. So,
Well, okay. I think you're on with another name. Were you not on this morning?
no, I've emailed you though.
Okay. I remember a case, and it probably was an email, where the two children are 14 each. Now,
Hmm.
why did you let this girl come live with your son?
Because she had ran from the center, Jameson Center, and I guess I just felt for her. I didn't want the little girl on the street.
So she was homeless.
Yeah, they had taken her that week that they started, or they
And how
started
does
seeing
she
each
know
other
your
like 2 weeks
son?
before being
Has he
taken.
known your son for a while?
For a little bit, yeah.
So they had a relationship going.
Right. It was a fresh relationship.
Okay, but didn't he know about the birds and the bees?
We had discussed it, yes. She had even went and got on, birth control. Come to find out, she hadn't actually taken any of the pills. Uh,
Oh boy.
yeah, it's so. So now they're 15 and they both have a baby.
Well,
And
yeah,
they
that
were living
was
in my
good
home.
there. But you said that CPS was okay with the
Yes.
14-year-old moving in?
Yes. For the
Didn't
whole
you,
entire year.
well, didn't your son, the two of them, didn't you keep them apart? You let them sleep together, did you?
She slept in my daughter's room, which was one larger room that had a wall sort of dividing it, and that was sufficient for them.
But somehow they got together and they started having sex. Okay.
Right.
And I think that's a little bit young. I don't, I think in the state, I think the kids have to be at least, is it 16 or 18? When is the state law?
I want to say 16. 18 would make better sense.
Well, yeah, but he can be called for statutory rape. I don't know if you know that.
Even being the
Anybody
same age.
being the same age is called statutory rape.
Okay. Oops.
And that is actually a criminal offense. That's something that the police could arrest your son on. It's against the law
So,
for minors to have sex under the age of either 16 or 18, what it is. And if there's an older adult having sex with a 14-year-old, that makes it even worse.
right. Understandable. I didn't know
So,
about it being the same age.
well, I meant like when you were brought up as a parent, how did your parents explain to you about sex?
Just stay away from boys. I got pregnant early myself. I was 17 and had my son when I was 18. Uh,
Okay, well, it's a little bit later, but I wish that all people would know that 14 is a little young to be encouraging with a child. That's wrong.
I agree. I agree. And
That
so
I
while
think
they were
they're
allowing,
lucky they haven't charged him yet with statutory rape.
so with that being said, though, in the beginning of her pregnancy, he was very open with the way he felt about things, and she was very persistent on it being her choice. Um, he got over that. The baby's here. He loves him absolutely, completely. But
are they planning to have? Are they planning to be married, or are they just going to be girlfriend boyfriend?
they want to be together, and now at this moment there's this issue that's arose, and he isn't even allowed to have visits with him, be around him. The girlfriend was, I feel like she was bullied into filing a police report past the date of something happening, and when she was very persistent on not wanting to do and not wanting to go down this specific road, right? Like, to separate them, to separate the baby and him. We have all been very vocal on just wanting some help, like anger management. Where I stand, I think that when CPS allowed her to stay there, and then they discovered she was pregnant, I kind of was hoping that they would see where I was coming from when I said, "Is there any programs for the two of them? New father, new mother, anything like that?" And that was never offered,
Well, there is no
ever.
program because apparently someone forgot to tell you about statutory rape.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
very serious when children have babies at that age, and it's against the law. Now, I think, I have to look in California. We look at here in California, the law.
When they had the baby, they were treated like adults. It was very strange.
Well, that's how the hospital is going to be. They're
Yeah.
not going to set their values.
So at what time would that had been brought to attention?
Well, the age of sexual consent in California is 18. That's what I thought. Anyone
Okay.
under the 18 cannot consent to sexual conduct. The California Penal Code prohibits unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. The law defines the crime as an act of sexual intercourse in a minor who's not the spouse or the offender. And that's why it's statutory rape. It's against the law. It's that you got to be 18. Now, can a 14-year-old consent to sex in California? And the answer is cannot consent. And someone engages in sexual activity with a minor under the age of 18, they can be charged with statutory rape. So your son can be charged with
Two
statutory rape.
minors.
Yeah, if first of all, she can't have sex till she's 18. And he cannot have sex with her till he's 18. And if he does, it's called statutory rape.
Well, that's just a little confusing. If children 12 years and older, or 12 years of age, are allowed to seek, all these different preventative, prenatal, medical treatment on their own without parental consent.
Well, there's no law that two 14-year-olds can't go out to the movies or out to dinner. There's nothing there. But however, because it's not illegal to date someone underage does not mean everything in a relationship is permissible. That's what the problem is. Now, when two minors do it, it makes it even worse.
So is that another thing I should be worrying about at this point?
Well,
Like, is that
I'm surprised CPS hasn't done it. They'll say you didn't protect your son. It's just illegal to be in a relationship with a minor.
It's illegal for a minor to be in a relationship with a minor.
It's illegal, yeah, a sexual relationship.
So then wouldn't I mean, wow. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
They're
Well, I
still
mean
considered young childs.
of course, when they were asking me to begin the foster placement, so I could become a foster placement or just a resource family placement, I didn't know how that was going to navigate because then they're foster siblings. It was just odd. But I was just her harm reduction location.
I'm trying to find. I mean, as long as this relationship is not sexual, they can date. However, if the relationship is sexual or involves sexual content, the age of consent in the state where the relationship takes place will determine if it's a crime. In California, the age of consent is 18 years old. If two minors are involved in sexual activity, the age difference is 3 years or less. It's called the California Romeo and Juliet law, may consider it a misdemeanor instead of a felony. It's still statutory
Right.
rape, but it won't be a felony, it'll be a misdemeanor. It's still a criminal charge. And he could go to jail for it.
So Monday they came and they had me call to put my daughter with my mother.
Well, they're gonna see what's happened is that you've proven an unfit mother. You're negligent because you allowed your son to have sexual contact with the girl that you're considered to, I guess, adopt. Are you trying to be a foster mother to this 14-year-old girl?
No, sir. No, sir. That's incorrect. That's not what's happening. What has occurred is that there are claims of me not protecting my grandson and protecting my daughter when there's been a fight with him and his girlfriend.
Okay, slow down. You're saying grandson. Is the boy is not your son? He's your grandson?
No, I'm talking about the baby that they have.
Oh, what about the baby?
The baby was in the home when the two of them had gotten into a fight. She is already part of the system.
That's domestic violence. And
and she's already part of the system, so they took her immediately and made her do the police report. Weeks later, made her do, so then comes the restraining order. They're saying he can't see the baby unless it's supervised visitation at the center, and made me remove my daughter from my home as well for failure to protect. They said that if something were to occur, for me to contact the law enforcement, so that way I have record of me trying to protect them and I have record of me trying to get my son help. And I did that. I have done that, and they removed them. But there's nothing stating or me signing this.
Well, what are the charges? I mean, okay, can we start?
There are none yet.
Okay, so along came this girl who's lost, and you took her in.
Yes.
Now, did you talk to someone about taking a child of 14 into your home that wasn't yours?
Her CPS worker.
Okay.
She would come and do regular visits.
Has already a CPS case. She's already in the system. So
yes.
Okay, so you wanted to adopt this girl, And
I was just her harm reduction location so that she wasn't running the streets trying to avoid going to the child Jameson.
well, you're neglect because you allowed your son to have sexual contact with her. You weren't protecting her. And
That's not in question.
I'm sorry, what?
That's not in question.
Oh, what do you mean? Have they charged you with that?
No, sir, that's never been a question in anything.
So what did they
That
charge you
that
with?
topic, they just began an investigation on Monday. There's nothing charged whatsoever at this moment. It's
Oh, this is
failure
what's
to
going to
protect my
happen.
grandson, failure to protect my grandson, and failure to protect my daughter during one of their fight. And
That is true.
that's
But
it.
what's going to happen is that when they do investigation, they also will take away your son, your grandson, and that girl who's 14. They'll take all
They've
three.
left my son with me.
I'm sorry, what?
My son is with me. They have not done nothing.
Oh no,
Nothing
it
is
will
happening with
come.
my son.
It will come. It's going to come. I mean, what you need. Do you have an attorney for this matter?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Um,
Um, have you accepted the court-appointed attorney if you can't afford one?
there's not. It's not there. That's not.
Well,
That
you're going
hasn't
to
come
have that
here. That's not.
question come up. You're going to be. You're going to be. What can happen is CPS could file with the police department statutory rape against your son, which is a serious crime. There's jail time involved for it. Plus, you have to go to criminal court. It's juvenile court, and you may have to serve some time in juvenile prison. Um, I don't know in Bakersfield where the juvenile prison is, but that's something he doesn't want to be in there. It's just that
No.
people under the age of 18 should not be having sex, and they should be protected or told by their parents. And did you check on the lights at nighttime to make sure they weren't together?
Yes.
I mean, you kept them apart, right?
Yes.
So how did they get together? Were they unsupervised for a period of time?
They're kids. They go to the same school together. They hang out together. They
I know, but
how do kids?
they're 14 and 13-year-old kids that go all the time to school. Doesn't mean they have sex. And yes, there are kids that do have sex. They just hope not to get caught. But right now,
Right.
you have a grandson that's been kidnapped by the CPS. They're an awful agency to be involved with anyway. They will come down hard on you later in the week. You're going to see more flags come your way. And I would think you need to get
So now,
an attorney to
so
protect you because your son's at risk of being charged with statutory rape.
I don't see how that all. I don't see that being an issue for the CPS. I don't see that what I don't see that being the issue at this moment.
Well,
They're
no,
trying to.
they are trying to digest the young boy, your grandson. They want to have a foster care. Their goal is to terminate that 14-year-old's parental rights and your son's rights to that child. Do not give them, do not give their parental rights. You make sure you tell the 14-year-old, both 14-year-olds, not to give up their parental rights. They're going to try to.
Yes, they.
That's their goal.
Right.
And um, also you had domestic violence involved. That's a no-no too, because you don't want to have any yelling or screaming around the child. The child needs to have, you know, uh, a loving environment. Yelling or domestic violence is bad. Both your son and that girl
Right.
will have to take a domestic violence program. They have to enroll into anger management, and it's a year-long class. This is not going to go away in a couple months, or it may take you a couple years. But my recommendation is right away to seek an attorney. You need to seek an attorney, and We do have an attorney that produces podcasts. His name is Mr. Vincent W. Davis. And he can be reached at that number 888-888-6582. That's on my screen. But he can do a consultation either in person or over the phone for 30 minutes for $60. For $60, he can tell you the pros and cons and what you can expect and what to do to prepare if your son is charged with statutory rape. And also, you got a long road to get your grandson back. Your grandson, they're
My
going to try
grandson
to.
hasn't been removed. He's with his mom.
And where's his mom? The 14-year-old.
Now she's with a family member. They're 15 years old now.
Okay.
Both of them are.
Where are the 15-year-olds right now? With what family member?
She's with a relative, with her relative.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. Hold on one second here. I need to answer. I didn't see them come in, and Faye has said some comments, and so has Sean in Broadway, who's from Oklahoma. Now, Sean in Broadway, you have Chelsea Carringer, Lindsay Lyman, and Mock Bees. What are those people, Sean? And what do those people mean? Faye says in Kentucky it's age of 16, but in California it's age of 18. So they can marry at age 16 with the parents' consent. Well, they're only 15, Faye. So whether they're in California or Kentucky, they can't get married yet. And email me, Shannon, you want to email me at bobp@vincentwdavis.com. Her son is 15. The girl's 15. I'll put my email in there. bobpace@vincentwdavis.com. That's my email. And it's going to go to all the rooms. There are 7 rooms here that are listening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rooms. I'm sorry, I miscounted. There are 8 rooms. We have all our rooms where shows are given. They're linked here. So, there can be people here. So there's my email, Sean, in there. And okay, now. Okay. I'll leave my phone number up in case someone wants to call in. My phone is live. You can call in. And we have a guest, Alexa, who has a very hard obstacle ahead of her. She just started out with CPS. Right now, her grandson has been taken away and put with a family member, as well as her son, who's 15 now, and the girl who was 15. Whoops, we lost Alexa. She may have dropped out. The daughter is not a daughter. She's a girl that was Alexa was bringing in. They're in Bakersfield, and Alexa is the girl that CPS allowed her to stay. But when you have 2 teenagers, welcome back, Alexa. I can try to put you on, Alexa. I can try to put you on. That's okay. All right, you're back on, Alexa. Welcome back.
Hi,
So,
Alyssa.
Alyssa. I keep calling Alexa. I'm sorry, Alyssa.
It's okay.
Anyway, we have Alyssa who had a young girl of 14 be placed with her family, but she allowed her 14-year-old son at the time to have sex with that girl, and they have a baby. They have a beautiful baby, and I'm glad that the hospital and the birthing people are handling that baby well. But domestic violence ensued, and now the mother is being failure to protect. So she has a failure to protect. That's negligence and the domestic violence. So what's going to happen is her son and that adopted girl who now is 15, they have to take domestic violence classes and anger management classes. That's one thing they're going to make you with your case plan. Also, thankful that your grandson is with family members because you don't want him in
He,
foster
he's
care.
he's with his mother.
Right. His mother is with the family members, right?
Correct. So nobody's been taken and placed into the system of foster care at all.
Right,
At all.
right. Well, that is good because that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
Um,
Except at this moment, trying to come in. CPS has contacted him, instructing him to come and get my daughter without telling me, which is false because I spoke to the lady and she said it was false. Who knows what to believe with the people, but our supervised visitation things are not supervised, our mediation agreement has never been active in their life at all and consecutively for the last 2 years. And here he
wait,
is trying to come up and get them when hold on,
stop
when
here for a second.
okay.
I'm confused. You're talking about somebody new now. Is this the biological father of that 14-year-old, 15-year-old girl?
No, it's my 2 children's father.
You mean it's the guy, your son? How old are you?
I'm 34.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know maybe you were 16 or 17 or what. I'm getting confused here. I don't think you'd be that young anyway because you have the baby there. So the biological father of your son is back in the picture.
He's trying to come and get my daughter sneakingly.
Wait a minute.
Specifically,
your daughter, that's not your daughter. That's somebody else's daughter.
no,
right?
I have 2 children. I have 2 children. I have a son and a daughter.
Okay. What
And then
about
I had this girl.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know you had a son and a daughter. Now, how old is the daughter? How old is the daughter?
My daughter's 12.
So
12.
and have you talked to her about having sex?
My daughter?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I don't think it's a good idea that she thinks it's okay to have sex, even though the girl that you brought in the house may tell her that it was cool or something like that.
It's nothing like
Having
that.
sex comes with responsibility. People don't understand, even young adults that get married. If you're going to have sex, you're going to have a child. And I know if you practice safe sex or abstinence or where you try to, abortion isn't the answer. That's not birth control. Abortion is not birth control. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about the pros and cons of abortion either. That's a separate issue. I think that's a woman issue. It's not a guy thing. They made it into a guy thing with judges making decisions about women and their bodies. And I think it should be strictly a woman issue, not a judge or old man issues or young man issues or wherever it is. So, with that being said, the ideal of the 12-year-old has to be protected. Now, was the 12-year-old present when the domestic violence arose? Oh, boy. Any of you that want to be a guest, it's always important to try to have a computer and a good internet connection. As you can see, it does slow down the pace of the show. So, Faye, her son is 15. The girl that's brought into the home is 15. They have a child together. It's against the law in California. It's called statutory rape. Supposedly, no one is charged criminal. CPS is investigating because the mother of 30 had taken in a girl who was 14 at the time. Apparently, she had a relationship with her son, and they had that child. Okay. All right. We've had some new people come into the room, and I got to figure them out. Um, okay, Shannon, you have a similar issue too. Did you have your young son or daughter have a child? And you're from, I forgot where you're from. You told me earlier. Let me see here. Um, Oklahoma. What's the age of consent in Oklahoma? What's the age of consent in Oklahoma? Welcome, Kaylee Larsaka. I am the girl. I am the girl. But to warn, my son is with me. All right. So you are the daughter. No, well, you're not that. You're the girl that was adopted by that family. I did not have anger issues. Her son does. Well, I understand that, Kaylee, but the way CPS works, it's they're going to have you do a domestic violence class and stuff there. Do you love that? Do you love her son? You both are 15. Are you in love with him because you got a child to raise? And now I have Ita Mari. Kaylee, or you got a lawyer as soon as possible. I'm doing CPS my state, and they'll take your kids for any reason. I agree. I don't know what state you're in, Ita Mori, but welcome. Ita Mori, call the lawyers you can. Call Mr. Davis if you can prepare yourself for what's to come. It's $60 for 30 minutes. That is true. That is true. Itamori, now that you're on their radar, they're going to be a big problem. Just prepare yourself. Now, Kaylee, it isn't a funny situation. That's because you're 15 and you don't know the consequences. You don't know the consequences. And you do not know CPS. And Kaylee, you don't want to laugh. It's a serious matter. You're 15 and you're not showing maturity. These people are trying to help you, Kaylee. And you certainly, if you want to raise your son, you're going to have to learn what the consequences are because they can put you into foster care. They can put you into foster care and you're not going to like it. Foster care is bad. It really is. Intamori, it's hard to go through this so young. So gather your circle around you. It's not easy to go through this alone. Kaylee, hear that. You got to depend on things. Yes, age of Kentucky in consent is 16. I was asking the age of consent in Oklahoma. I didn't want to stop and look it up. But anyway, Kaylee, thank you for coming on. You're in Bakersfield along with the boy's mother, and your son is with you. I'm glad that he's with you and a family member. But in order to keep him, you're going to have to demonstrate some maturity at 15. And it's very hard to be mature at 15 when you have a child to take care of and you're in school. You need to finish school. Yeah, I know it's different per state. I looked up California. I just didn't want to look up Oklahoma, but maybe I need to go there. What the age of consent in Oklahoma? Oklahoma age of consent is 16. So if you're 16 or younger, You cannot have sex. That means you got to be 17. It means it's illegal for a minor who is 16 years old or younger to have sex. Let me see. Now, the Romeo and Juliet consensual sex between each individual must be at least 14 years and younger than 18 years. Sex with a minor under 18, 14 will result in criminal charges. In some states, the age of consent is determined by age difference. For example, a state may set a minimum age of 14 but limit consent to partners who are within 3 years of age. This will allow a 16-year-old to lawfully have sex with a 14-year-old but make it a criminal for an 18-year-old. I think your son is going to be the Romeo and Juliet law. I think it is there. I think that's what I'm trying to find. In California, it says they can have sex. 12 and 13-year-olds can be sexual with people who are no more than 2 years older than them. 14 and 50-year-olds can be sexual with people who are no more than 5 years older than them. Oh boy, they really make it difficult now. I'm hoping that Alexa will come back. She has left. I don't know if she was having phone issues. Okay. Yes, they do retaliate, Shannon. When you talk to local news, they do. Shannon Broadway says, Buyer, Oklahoma. No, my son, 15, was taken out of my custody 2023 illegally with no grounds, but not my other two. And while it's been in custody, that's been allowed to have sex and basically do whatever he wants. And CPS covered it up and drop it and hid everything he's done to build a new case against me on these false allegations. That has done between proven because I have evidence of these such things and would lose their jobs if it came out. Now, this threatening take and my other 12 months later. They didn't take custody, but found out I was talking to local news. They gave me a court-appointed attorney. Well, you can use a court-appointed attorney, but keep in mind that a court-appointed attorney has a caseload of 30 more clients, and he will not fight for your case. He'll try to settle it really easy. Also, you cannot speak in court because you have an attorney. That's why they love to give court-appointed attorneys to families, because they know that the families can't speak up in court. You see, you have to get rid of the court-appointed attorney if you want to speak in court, or hire an attorney that will fight for your case and someone that has the background of juvenile family dependency law. That's the area you're in. And of course, the court-appointed attorney is not doing his job and secretly working with them. Yes, he does. I say don't use the court. If you want to use them, I can't stop you. All I can tell you is recommend you to get a real attorney. Oh boy. Sounds like Oklahoma is after you, Sean, and that's bad. It's a system issue, Sean is saying. They're using my son as a path against me to keep me shut up about all the mishandling, falsified documents, and things they have done. I don't have the money for one is a problem. Most people don't have money for an attorney. I didn't have room for an attorney. I had to sell my home. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. Sometimes people get credit lines, or they can get loans, or they get family members, or you can do that thing on the internet where it's called a GoFundMe, and you can GoFundMe. You can do a GoFundMe on the internet and get people to donate $50. You may get 1,000 people that fill for your case to donate $50. So, um, you know, the excuse is you get what you pay for. The court appointed attorney are friends with the social workers' attorneys. In fact, your children will have court appointed attorneys. That makes it worse too. See, each of your children will have an attorney. If you're married, your spouse will have an attorney. So there's all these attorneys. So they're all court appointed. They all hold hands and they have lunch together, play golf together, and they work together. And they're not going to see your children. They're going to get worse and worse and worse. And I'm sorry to hear that. You should still keep talking to the news media. The news has got to get out. This has got to get out. I'm telling you right now, there were 8 social workers in the year 2022 from Prescott, Arizona. And in that area, the CPS system was the DCS, Department of Children's Services. And what these women, these 8 social workers, they're white and they're women, is that they bought pink t-shirts. On the t-shirt was stenciled professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they said, do you know where your children are? And to parade around in Costco, in Walmart, in Target, all the big stores. They were caught, they were fired, as well as the director, but that didn't solve the problem. Right now, that department only had one person. They filed the director, so all they had was one worker, a guy trying to protect the children from neglect and abuse and do the family reunification for systems. So that really destroyed. So what I'm telling you is that these social workers, you can't trust them. You can't believe in them. And I'm telling you also, if you dealing with social workers is like doing open heart surgery. If you're going to have open heart surgery, yourself is not going to do it, your spouse is not going to do it, and your friends are not going to do it. Either will a mechanic or will a laundry person when it is there. Okay, we have a call coming in. This is Bob Pace. Who am I speaking to?
This is Shauna Broadway. I'm on Bob Pace's live.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Shauna Broadway.
Right. Shauna, one moment. Can you turn off myself on your computer because it's echoing. It's going to be feedback.
Okay, I see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you fine. You're on my speakerphone and everybody else is hearing you.
Okay. To briefly explain my situation, I am from Pryor, Oklahoma, and I am a single parent of 3 boys. And my oldest child began to have issues such as being aggressive, destroying stuff in the home, running away, where I had to start contacting the police to get involved.
How old was this? How old was his child?
At the time that this was occurring, he was 15.
Okay.
This was last summer.
So you have a rebellious teenager. Now, is there a father for this child?
He has been absent and refused to be involved.
So he has no interest in helping out or supporting you or the child?
No.
Were you guys married?
We were, and he was ordered by the judge to do certain things after that he never did, or I mean, he just
What
went
was
ghost pretty much after
what
that.
was the custody arrangement?
He had to do parenting classes and certain things, and then after he completed those, he was going to have so many months of supervised visits before it would be a shared custody, which he never did those things, so it didn't happen.
So you had a CPS case during your divorce then?
No, at the time that the CPS got involved was just this last summer. That divorce and custody with the father and all that was when the child was young.
Well, then why did they order you parenting class or order him parenting class? See, that's something that CPS
Because when we
does.
split up, he just disappeared. He didn't just leave me, he left his child. And so when our divorce proceedings came, because of his neglect of just leaving the child because our divorce wasn't done right away, it was done some years later. And in those years, they seen the neglectfulness on his end, that's why he was ordered to do those things.
Okay. The reason why I'm bringing this up, I did not know if CPS will try to reach out to him and have your children with him. That's the reason I brought that up. So,
well, this child that I'm having issues with does not have the same father as the other two.
okay, so we got another father involved. Okay. Were you married to that father?
Of my other two, yes.
No, besides the other two, how about the one you're having trouble with, the 15-year-old?
No, he's the one that has the absent dad that I was just telling you about.
Well, does that father want to be involved with that child?
No, and in this situation, the people involved with CPS, with my son and stuff, have reached out to him and vocalized these things in court.
So
he has made it clear he doesn't.
So
want
both
to be
parents don't want to be there. Now, are all three of your children taken, or just your son?
No, and that's why I was trying to get some help on the situation and explain. Every attorney that I've spoken to has said this is a peculiar case that they have never seen in their years of experience with these matters. And they've told me, if I don't have money for an attorney, I need to start reaching out to media and news outlets because of what they've seen in the situation I'm dealing with. It is not, when I began to call the cops and things were going on with my son, it was to get help. And what occurred is I found out that people were not handling things right, so I filed complaints on those issues. The minute that I filed those complaints, they started hiding everything that my child was doing and coming after me. And that's where this whole situation began. They illegally removed my son, not my other two, just him, and allowed him to go to his friend's house when I still held all custody and rights at this time that they allowed this.
Now, here's my question. That is CPS doing that, right?
Well, here they don't call it CPS.
Okay.
They call it ICW for Indian Child Welfare.
Okay, let's stop here for a second here. Because, first of all, when I say CPS, I say the Child Protection System. Every state will have their own acronyms and their own name for their CPS system. So when I say CPS, I don't mean the Child Protection Services. I mean the Child Protection System. Now, the ICW, is that the ICWA? Wait a minute. Are you trying to say the ICWA? I mean, are you a tribal member?
Yes, the only reason why it is the Indian and not the state is because of the McGirt law and stuff here in Oklahoma. If you are a native citizen or you live on their jurisdiction land,
the tribe takes care of it. The tribe in 1978, there was the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, the ICWA. That was passed in 1998. It was like 100 years overdue because since 1875, they had trouble with the Indians being taken by CPS and put into foster care right away. And then the Indian tribes, what they're supposed to do, the ICWA, if you are registered with the tribe or could be registered, CPS has to turn them over to the tribe. The tribe in turn will set them up with an Indian family and try to help them. and they're a lot better
Well,
for doing it.
This is the thing, Mr. Pace. When he was removed from my home, it was not a matter of anything I had done. I actually called for their assistance because the child was assaulting me physically.
Okay.
But when I started filing reports on people that were handling this situation incorrectly, that's when they tried to cover up everything my son has done, and in turn built a case on me on these false allegations that have done been investigated. This has been a 12-month ordeal.
Right. I'm confused. If your son has been turned over to Indian tribe, why is CPS still involved?
Well, this is another reason why I'm seeking help, because the court-appointed attorney they have given me is fed me nothing but a bunch of lies that I later found out in law are lies about things.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
For an attorney.
I'm so sorry for that. Yeah, the court-appointed attorney, first of all, works for CPS. Now, I don't know how the ICW, I've never heard that before, but right now I'm going to check it. This is in Oklahoma?
Yes. And when they first removed him from my house and let him go stay at his friend's house was in November of 2023, okay? I began to document. I have documented in and out of this whole entire situation with CPS, with cops, with the people involved in my son's case. And they filed a 3-page motion when we went to court to block out my evidence. Not only was my evidence not seen or heard, but I was not even allowed to take the stand. And this woman filed this 3-page document on my son's case after she found out I was still trying to expose what they were doing. It's basically every time I don't shut up and I still try to push what's going on in this situation, they try something else. And this last Friday, we had a court date, and by this time, they done got custody. When she found out I was talking to the news, she filed for custody, used the false allegations my son was saying that was done disproven as her, but they didn't remove my other 2 children. They just got custody of him. Right. And then you fast forward to our last court date, they pulled me in a room with my attorney and put a document in front of my face to sign. And they said they have continually tried to ask me not to go to trial.
Now, can we stop here for a second? Because I looked up Oklahoma. Yes. The Indian Child Welfare, the ICW program in Oklahoma, provides services to children and families of federal recognized tribes. The ICW's goal is to prevent family breakups, promote safety and stability, and strengthen family. The ICW offers a variety of services, including casework, prevention casework, and intervention, family reunification, and adoption. It also gives counseling and referral services. It also is advocacy of monitoring hearings. Now, here's my question. This ICW is not a replacement of the CPS. They still have CPS in Oklahoma. I forgot what it's called, but it has a name. This ICW is the program of the Welfare Act I was telling you about, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. So somehow this group is very, I guess, more involvement than other ICW tribes. You know, this Indian Child.
Well, something that's interesting, Mr. Pace, about the ICW situation is the caseworker that was on my son's case for the 10 months of the 12 months closed the case on me 7 times. She closed the case. And she came and told me that these people were pressuring her and using her job to pressure her because she would not confirm anything on me to take my other 2 children away. This was months prior to them filing for custody. They then removed this caseworker off my case when she refused to do this. And they put a new caseworker on the case now that is doing some of the things I was commenting to you about. There has been things going on with my son that they are lying about, that they are covering up, that I have proof of. But as long as they're silencing me in court to where I can't say anything or show my evidence, it's going the way that they're portrayed. I know what their organization says and what they're about, but I've got proof that they're doing exact opposite in this situation, and it's not for the well-being of the child. It is more because if this was to come out, the whole department is going to be investigated.
All right. I'm going to have to stop there because this is the first time I've gone 5 minutes over my show. I didn't realize the time. I'm not supposed to go past 8 o'clock. We have the StreamYard application with some rules. I can only go an hour. And so what I would like to do is continue this either tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time or tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So if you can call back then, I'd love to talk more about this because this is very interesting. This is a new twist to ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act. Every show I've been talking about, I've been telling parents to contact the tribes. CPS is supposed to contact the tribes and try to work with it. So it sounds like this is a very active ICWA group in the state of Oklahoma because there's a lot of Indian families there with Indian children because Oklahoma is one of the biggest reservations around. So I think that's why they're involved. And so I don't want you to panic or fret. You should not be intimidated. Don't let people intimidate you. If you have something to say, tell the news, tell the truth. They need to know. Now, if this ICWA is corrupt, they need to be exposed. I'm telling you that they.
But I'm afraid they're fixing to put a gag order on me to where I can't talk.
Well, then you need to talk to your governor or your congressman or senator and tell them that. That's against the law.
Well, I spoke to the governor of Oklahoma, and he said due to the Indian law, that's separation from state and tribe, that he cannot get involved. So
you're right.
I just don't know who to turn to.
The Indians, I know that. The Indians have their own law on the land. It's federal. There are 547 tribes that are recognized by the federal government. The federal government can't go on their lands. I don't know if you saw the Battle of Wounded Knee of 1972, but they had a battle where the FBI was involved. So there is a real big problem. And this is a problem that I've never encountered before with you. I'm glad you brought it to my attention that this ICW, the Indian Child Welfare Agency, or what you want to call it, is, I guess, got more powers than I thought. And is there a CPS system in Oklahoma?
Well, we do. We have the state, and then you have the tribe. But because we're Indian and the laws here, we were forced to deal with the tribe, and I have not been able to get it. State. Right. And now that they hold custody, I can't.
Well, we're going to have to investigate this and research it better, how to go and file a grievance against the tribe or get more involved in getting help there. But I understand about your attorney situation.
Okay, so you're an hour ahead of me. So if I call back tomorrow, it's an hour ahead there, right?
Right now, it's after 8 o'clock. It's 8:10. My time.
Okay, it's 10:21 here.
You're 2 hours ahead of me.
Okay.
So tomorrow you call in at noon. Let me see, 10, 11, no, at noon. And tomorrow night you call in at 9. 9 p.m. your time or noon your time tomorrow. Okay?
Okay, I appreciate your time, Mr. Pace. I look forward to talking to you.
Yeah, I look forward to you too. All right, I'm going to wrap up this show. We did go longer. I think it was important. We had a very unusual night tonight. I have two different situations. I have one that where the tribe, the Indian tribe, are more vocal with the child protection system and how to take care of them. We have a state and tribe issues. So Shannon's got a really hard case there. So thank her for talking from Oklahoma. Also, we have Faye from Richmond, Kentucky. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for your comments and everything you said tonight. Also, Ita Mari, thank you for stepping in. I don't know where you're from. Kaylee LaCroca, You won't want to be funny. I know you're a 15-year-old girl and you think you know it all, but you're in a very dangerous position with the social workers. Don't mess it up. Listen, if you love that boy and you guys want to raise that child, you have to work as a team. And you also have to help his mother, you know. So, anyway, you need to also get an attorney. I cannot emphasize how important it is. And now, let me see who else has been in here. Um, Faye. Christina Renoza, I'm glad you called in. And Faye was on tonight. Hopefully, you two got hooked up. So, with that said, I'll see you all tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific time. This is Bob Pace saying, God bless, keep fighting, don't give up, and I'll have a good night.